It's been said that luck is the intersection of preparation and opportunity. Welcome to the Australian Hunting Backcountry podcast, where we will focus on all things hunting in the backcountry, not just in Australia, but everywhere that backcountry hunting is possible. My name is Tobias, and if you're a hunter with no backpacking experience, or even an expert, I would like you to join me as we explore gear, places, and technologies, hear lived experiences, different perspectives, and share the passion that people have for a hard-earned backpack hunt. I appreciate you being here with me as I try to increase the knowledge that will bring us better luck in the backcountry. Welcome again to another episode of Australian Hunting Backcountry. Today, very excited to be in small business location in Brisbane. I'm going to get my guest Sam to introduce himself in a minute, but it's been an interesting morning already, having a look around, checking out some of the products here in the warehouse. So Sam, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for agreeing to come on board.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, Sam, do you want to let everyone know who you are and where we are actually, the business that we're talking about today?
Sure. So my name is Sam Schumann. I'm the founder of Alton. So we're a high quality, ultralight outdoor gear brand based in Brisbane, supplying all of Australia and places all around the world. I started this business in 2018, where I quit my full-time job as an accountant. I sort of come to a point in my short career as an accountant where I realised it was probably more important to spend my day doing something I genuinely enjoyed, rather than sitting in an office sort of with no direction and no aspirations to climb that ladder.
Yep.
And yeah, I really just sat down and thought, what were the things that I enjoy doing and what are the things that I'm good at? And I found a cross section between sales and spending time outdoors and hiking, and that was the birth of Alton. Yeah. And that's why we're here today.
Yeah, great. So obviously as an accountant, you're very good and passionate about making money. So to move into a business then and having that background was obviously going to be an advantage for you as well.
Yeah, it totally has been. It's one of those things that when people ask me about my time studying accounting, being an accountant, I'm always really critical, and I talk about how, it's such a bad work-life balance, and it just wasn't really a very happy and, good environment to be in. But I'm really grateful for it as well, because every day I come in here to work and I need to make decisions that, impact the lives of my staff, my customers, myself. It's good to have that backing to sort of know that you're making a pretty educated decision.
Yep.
And I honestly sometimes think about other people I meet who run their own businesses, and I genuinely wonder how they do it without having that kind of background and knowledge of how a business works, how a P&L statement and a balance sheet work. It's so fundamental to keeping things afloat. So I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, I just last year I started my own business, and it has been a very steep learning curve. And I didn't have any of that background. I've had to learn all of that, or employ people to come on board and do all that for me. So who is Alton besides you? Tell me about the team here and I guess the vision that you had for Alton from the start.
Yep. So the vision really is to fill a space that I believe still exists in the market and existed when I started, and that is there's ultralight brands out there, and there's brands that produce really tough, high quality products. I wanted to create something in between. So you've got the really tough, long lasting materials, but the materials we use are much lighter than those kind of say canvas products and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And you look at it from the other direction, and you've got those really ultralight products that feel really brittle and that they're great, but they don't take too much knocking, before they fall apart. So I guess I wanted to create something that was down the middle, had a bit of both, but I also have a great appreciation for aesthetic and the way that things look. And I also felt there was a bit of a gap there in the outdoor gear market, because you go into the store and mostly you get the option of bright purple or yellow when it comes to sleeping mats and tents and that kind of thing.
Yep.
And I just really wanted to create something that was that just looked great, and would look great for a long time. It's not just going to be kind of one season kind of thing. It's products that will last a long time and look great for a long time, and that people are drawn towards because of their properties, like their quality and long lasting, durability, lightweight, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And the trade-off in the outdoor gear industry as well is that the lighter it is, exponentially the higher the cost seems to go. So there's I think what you're saying as well is that there's also that niche area there between the extreme stuff that is super expensive and is obviously designed for hard use and very serious, hardcore. Like the thru hikers in America, like that society there, they're all about ultralight, ultralight. But then there's obviously a larger portion of the market which is sort of sitting in that middle area that is looking for good quality gear that's still going to be reasonably priced to make it accessible for them to get into the outdoors. Yeah,
and that's probably something I missed out on before, is price. Like there's definitely materials we could use which would be lighter, and might offer that extra 1% of strength, but we try and make that decision that find something just right in that sweet spot where a customer who's still willing to spend money can afford it. So it's not targeted at your kind of mum and dad camper. It's definitely targeted towards your more hardcore people that spend their time researching and making good decisions about the gear they're going to buy. So it's up there in price, but it's not ridiculous. It's I like to think it's a sweet spot. It's a bit of a Goldilocks zone.
Yep. Look, I'm a big proponent of buy once, cry once as well. However, having said that, I also don't want it to be a detractant from people getting into backpack hunting and so forth. So yeah, if you can make something that is that sweet spot, like you say, between price and quality and weight and so forth, then it makes it again a lot more accessible for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I sit and think about it, it's really what I've created is something that I'd buy, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Like every product we introduce is something that I have been thinking, oh gee, that's a pretty cool product that I can't find, or there's nothing really in the market that I could buy right now. And yeah, everything really kind of fits into that category. That's probably the amount I'd spend. They're kind of the features I'd want. That's that high durability standard that I look for. I guess I've sort of just created a range to suit my needs, but it turns out there's a whole lot more people out there that have pretty similar needs and wants.
Yeah. It's funny, I'm hearing you say that. I've spoken to some other people as well who are sort of small businesses in the industry, and they've created a business, they've built it up, and it was born out of products that they identified that they would have liked to have access to, and they looked and they couldn't find anything, so they went, okay, I'll make it myself. And then they made some for some mates and handed it out, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, where can I get these from? And the next thing, they've got a whole business. They've got, a slice of the pie of the industry. So, yeah, that's interesting to hear. You're using the word I a lot through all of this, and you're saying, that I have designed and created and so forth. Has it been all you, or is there other members of the team that we need to give credit to as well?
It certainly has not been all me. I guess when I tell my story, I say I, because it was a long journey of just me doing things. But yeah, we're now at a point where I've got product designers, so industrial designers, graphic designers, marketing staff, people that run the distribution, all that kind of stuff. So there are lots of other people involved, and we're constantly growing. And that's all learning for me as well. So I've never really managed a team, but we're now at a point where there are staff, and there is a team, and there's lots of different people to manage with different ideas and that kind of thing. And I guess my job is trying to hold that vision that I've got, and bring everyone along for the ride.
Yep. So for you then, the outdoors. I know before we started recording, we were sort of talking about past careers and so forth, and you just said, you're an accountant, and so was the outdoors and backpacking and so forth always something that you were interested in while you were an accountant and prior to Alton?
Yeah, absolutely. It probably all started in high school, when I went along and did the Duke of Edinburgh program.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't even know how that came about, but a couple of mates were doing it, and I decided to go along. And for listeners that aren't aware, the Duke of Edinburgh program. One of the aspects of it is you have to do expeditions to sort of tick off the requirements to get the award. There's a lot of other things, but expedition's one of them. So yeah, every year of high school I was going on, one or two big expeditions, which were mostly hiking, sometimes kayaking, so outdoorsy kind of things. And I guess that's where the love was born. And as I went through uni and early work as an accountant and that kind of thing, that's what I spent my holidays doing. And it was sort of like one of my favourite sort of pastimes, and I'd get friends together, and I had a group of friends who we all like doing the same thing, and we just loved getting out there and biting off more than we can chew and finding little challenges for ourselves. And it's been like that ever since, but I feel like since I've started this job I do less of it now.
yeah, that's right. It's quite funny because Eric from On Track Meals, who we were talking about just before, just a few sheds down from you here, their other side of the business is the On Track Expeditions, and they support the Duke of Edinburgh students as well. So, and that was part of the reason how they developed the food component, was to supply those expeditions.
Yeah, it's such a great program. When I think back, I would have been 13 when I started it. Very impressionable age, and hiking was never something that my parents pushed onto me or anything like that. Did a little bit of camping, but the expedition style adventure stuff, that all came from doing that program and being surrounded by people who enjoyed it and sort of taught me to love it, I guess.
Yep. So for you, where did the name Alton come from, and this, I guess the representation here in the industry?
So the name Alton is Alton National Park is a little national park in Western Queensland. There's no real connection to it. I love Western Queensland. Like I've got a real appreciation for how tough it is out there, and to stick around out there, you've got to be a tough person. So I liked the name because it was from that area, and I wanted tough products that were going to last a long time. My father's side of the family is from Western Queensland, so that's kind of my connection to out there. And the name looked good. It was from that area. There's no real story. It's sort of all just, that's how it came to be.
Okay.
The name,
there you go.
Name looked cool.
I hadn't heard of that national park, so I'm going to...
It's not much to write home about.
Going to Google it after this, but...
I wouldn't waste the 8-hour journey to drive out there. There's not much. It's tiny. It's a tiny little national park.
Yeah. What's it near? What's the closest major town?
It's near St George.
Okay.
So on the Brisbane side, probably 2 hours out.
Right.
An hour out from St George.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. I used to do a lot of pig shooting years ago out near St George and sort of up towards Surat and so forth.
Yeah. Oh, you blink and you'll miss it.
I must have. Yeah.
I've tried to do a bit of reading about it, but there's not much. And I think the reason that it got made a national park is there was some plant there that, they haven't found anywhere else. But I'm not joking. This national park's like 3 acres.
Yeah.
It's tiny. It's really small, and it's surrounded by farms. But yeah, went out there to check it out. probably 2 years after the business got named.
Yep.
I'd really only ever seen it on a map.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I love how this is a Queensland-based business, and you're using a Queensland-based name to tie it all in. Yeah, that's great. So now you're not a hunter either, and I won't hold that against you. But there's so much crossover between backpack hunting and outdoors sports, mountaineering and backpacking and all of that sort of thing. And there's a lot of gear that sort of transfers over. So there's obviously, looking on the Alton website, there's quite a bit of gear there that I can see being useful to backpack hunters and even just hunters in general. Whether you're camping at the car or however you're doing it. But I think my first introduction to Alton, I can't remember how I stumbled across you, whether it was an ad or something or other, but a few years ago you had and I think you still have them now, but the titanium grills, just the mesh grills.
Yep.
And I was looking for something at the time to do a bit of cooking. So one of the things that we like to do, when we go on a backpacking trip is shoot an animal that we can then have for a bit of camp meat, if the opportunity arises sort of first thing. And so rather than taking a frying pan in or, cooking it on a stick over the fire or something like that, I thought this grill would be a great idea. You could dress the meat up a bit, season it, put it over the flame, over the coals. What a great idea. So I ended up getting one. And then I also got a thin cutting board and cut it down to the same size as the grill to take that along with me. And the two of them together weigh next to nothing. There's almost zero weight penalty, But so yeah, I did get to use it on a trip, and it worked great, And then I see now that you still have it. You have another version as well, and you also sell the cutting boards, the lightweight cutting boards to go along with it as well. So that was interesting for me. From my side to think, well, there's something that I thought of years ago and thought would be a good idea, and here you are, you've now got it. So
yeah, it's a really big part of like who we are as a business. I'm just, we're always looking at what customers are doing and asking customers about their experience, and just seeing every Instagram shot that comes up and YouTube video and looking out for those little bits. So that's a great example, the cutting board. I saw that customers were cutting a cutting board out from thin plastic and putting it in with their grill, and I thought, well, I'll save the customer the time, and we'll include that with the grill. And at the time we bought the grill out, no one else was doing titanium grills. People had the stainless steel grills, or a lot of people just use like cake racks, cake cooling racks.
Yep.
And I came across titanium, and it was just like the perfect product because it was stronger than stainless steel and lighter than stainless steel. So it totally ticked all the Alton boxes. Anyway, we introduced that product. It's been really popular, and I guess we always think about, because people will then come and introduce the same product. It's an easy product to copy. So there's plenty of other brands out there that now sell them. So we always think about, well, how can we continue to add value and continue to improve so that we're always a little bit of a step ahead of those that are trying to chase our tails. And yeah, that was just such an obvious thing to do. Only costs a couple of cents, and you can delight the customer by having that little extra bit in there that's something that they're going to think of down the track, but you save them the trouble.
Yeah. And look, obviously the ultimate goal is to try and keep the weight as low as you can. And I've cut up meat before on the top of logs and on old, dehydrated meal packets and the mylar packets and that sort of thing. And that worked fine. I never got sick or anything from it. But I think just, it was something that I just identified straight away that this would just value add to this product, to have a cutting board here that I can, then use separately, and I don't worry about cross contamination of things, and
Yep.
it's
a nice clean surface that you can just pull out and prepare your meal.
Yeah. And then I put it on the plastic bag as well. So if it is covered in blood at the end of the trip, goes in a plastic bag. It doesn't. You don't get blood meat bits on any of your other gear or whatever. So it's very simple. So
the grill also comes with that Velcro pouch.
Yeah.
So you got the dirty, sooty grill. You can whack that away. Your bloody cutting board and into your bag, and you don't need to worry about it till you get home, and you can give it a wash.
Yep. And so now you have two different sizes in that grill. So is the one that I bought still the same size available?
It is, yep. So that's our small size.
Yep.
And then, I guess we were just, getting, I guess, more customers that were traveling with other people. So initially we had a lot of solo campers, and that's probably because we sort of leaned a little bit towards that way with our products.
Yep.
But as we've started to bring out more couples kind of camping stuff, we've tried to bring out different sizes of certain things, and the grill was one. You can only really cook a small piece of meat on that small grill, so we brought out the double sized grill to, for people cooking for a few mates.
Yep. No. One of the other things as well that I did for many years and still do now, I guess, but I've sort of progressed from tent camping into hammock camping.
Yep.
And I'm now sort of progressing back to tent camping, but that's only because I spent a lot of money on a tent a little while ago that I need to get used to using.
Got to justify it now.
Yeah, that's right.
$5 a use.
Yeah, that's right. You got to come down from $500 a trip to $25. But yeah, I see you do quite a bit of stuff with hammocks as well.
Yeah. So another sort of big part of the brand is simplicity, and not having wasted kind of things that you take out with you that have just got one use. Like we try to have multi-use kind of products and really simple systems. And hammock camping is one of those systems that's super simple. You can take it anywhere. It just really offers a lot of bang for the weight, the cost, all that kind of stuff. And it's modular. You don't need to, if it's a completely clear night, you don't need to put a tarp up. All you need to take is the tarp and maybe a bug net. If there's no mosquitoes, you just need the tarp. So really cool, modular, simple camping system that I've always been a big fan of. But I think I've taken maybe a similar journey to you. I was tent, then I went to hammock, but I'm really getting into kind of like the under the tarp, bivvy style camping. Really enjoying that at the moment.
Yeah. I think the transition away from tents for me into hammocks was two reasons, because a lot of the gear that I had at the time for camping, that sounds weird when I say it out loud. It sounded better in my head. For tent camping, sorry. It kind of let you down. Like, we had the super thin Thermarest air mats, and you'd always slide off them and end up on the ground. And I had really good sleeping bags. I had a mate who made his own gear years ago. He had his own label, so he made me a couple of great sleeping bags. So that wasn't an issue, but it was, some of the tents, particularly the lower cost ones, were maybe not the best quality. So, there might have been a little bit of water ingress, and, wake up in the middle of the night, early in the morning, there's a pool of water sleep, next to you as well. Things like that. So I kind of saw the advantage of going to a hammock for those reasons, as well as the fact that hammock camping is literally an anywhere kind of option. And I remember one trip in particular I did, where I was hiking out of the place, and it was this great big long hill coming out of there, and there were no flat spots around because the whole thing was on an incline. But I wasn't worried about that anyway, because I knew I had the hammock with me, so looking for a flat spot wasn't a problem. The problem then that I found I faced was making finding two trees that were the right distance apart. And sometimes, you might need to modify things a little bit, like knock a couple of smaller trees down that are growing in between or something like that. But you certainly opened up a lot more options to you than having to look for somewhere that was flat.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a disadvantage of the tent. The other probably issue that I faced was on another night, because I was moving each night, so I wasn't setting up and staying for a few days in one area. One night I got to the point where it was getting dark. I needed to find somewhere, and the only two trees I could find that were the right distance apart, one of the trees was this huge gum tree. It was down in Victoria. I couldn't even fit my arms around it. It was that big. So I had to kind of take a couple of straps off my pack and link them together to make a bit of a sling to extend it, and then get the line in to suspend the hammock. But other than that, there's what issues you face with camping, you probably face the same amount with hammocks. But that flexibility to be able to just camp on the side of a hill, and particularly for a hunter, if you see a deer, put a deer to bed, at night time, or see them late in the afternoon, you don't have to go far away from where you were glassing them to set up a camp. And so in the morning, you've only got a short walk back to where you can try and see them again.
And relatively quick to set up as well. That's the other thing. Late in the day, dim light, you don't want to be setting up a tent. It's so easy just to string a hammock up between a couple of trees. And surprisingly good in weather as well. Being able to be up off the ground when it's wet and safe and warm in your cocoon it's pretty nice compared to being down on the ground in a tent and there's water coming up right to your door and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, even though I've got a Hilleberg now, and
so I'm straight to the top of the shelf.
Yeah, so really good tent, bomb proof. But even so, I still, when I'm in a storm, I still worry about what's going to happen. Where's the water going to come in?
Yeah.
Or what, is a peg going to pull out or something like that? But I never had that concern when I was in a hammock. And I should point out, I don't have an Alton hammock. I have a Hennessy hammock, but I bought it years ago before
good brand.
Alton was on the scene. So, and a Jack Sarbetta underquilt as well. So yeah, really, really good brand. I know there's a lot of good brands out there as well, but yeah, I never had that issue. I never had that concern. I thought, if a peg blows out, the worst thing that's going to happen is the corner of the fly will flap around for a bit. It's not going to be a major issue.
Yeah, that's it.
Obviously, then the concern is stuff maybe coming from on top, like bits of trees getting blown on you or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's
Always good to check for deadfall.
Yeah. Victoria has a bit of a nasty habit, though. There are some trees there, but there's a breed of eucalypt that has a nasty habit of throwing really healthy looking limbs. So whilst you can check for widow makers, it is not uncommon to see a very large branch on the ground that for all intents and purposes has green leaves, healthy looking bark and so forth, and it's just laying on the ground. So
bloody hell.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just a hazard of being outdoors, isn't it?
All part of the fun.
Yeah, that's right. It's all part of the adventure. So I guess like you guys have got that. I saw you doing some stress testing of a tarp recently as well.
Yeah.
Is that the standard tarp that's available now?
It is, yeah, and that's that's one of our biggest selling products. We actually started with hammocks. Funnily enough, that was our first product, and again, it was probably because at the time I was interested in hammock camping, and from there we bought out a bunch of accessories, and then the final piece of the puzzle was the tarp to go over the top of the hammock, and then after bringing out the tarp, that's opened up all of the ground camping that you can do under a tarp. So that's kind of like the product that ties everything in our range together. And it's just, it's an excellent piece of gear. People have out there using the tarps, the first tarps we ever released 7 years ago, and they're still going strong. So really nice bit of kit that's just been mastered over the years. And we did that fun test where we poured 40 litres of water on top just to see, I guess just to show the customer that it's waterproof. It's amazing how many brands are out there that sell tarps that do leak and aren't waterproof.
Or you buy it and then they say, oh, by the way, you've got a seam seal.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one, yeah. So ours comes seam sealed, which is, you'd expect that's how they should come. But yeah, there's certain types of, if it's a silicone coating, you need to paint it with your own silicone seam sealing.
Yep.
Whereas ours is PU and silicone, so the PU side can be seam sealed before the customer gets it, which is great.
Yep.
But the tarp stood up to the test, 40 litres of water, and I guess the surprising thing was probably that it held the weight, as well as not leaking. So the tie-out points all, held the 40 odd kilograms that was sitting on top.
Yep.
It couldn't have probably taken much more, but it's a great bit of gear, super durable, and with that square size, it's the 3x3 meters. You can actually do sort of like 40 or 50 different configurations with it. Whether you've got it above a hammock or on the ground between two trees or no trees. We actually sell a little guide. It's got, I can't remember how many, but a whole bunch of configurations you can build with it. It's one of those bits of gear that everyone should have in their kit. So versatile.
And I think from what I've seen on your website as well, because you've got the tie-out points around the outside and you've also got a ridge. And then you've got some in offset places on the thing as well. So
for a diagonal ridge.
You can also create not only the basic sort of cutting the sandwich in half, but you can do the diagonal ridge like you were saying as well. And for hammocks, sometimes that's ideal. To have a diagonal ridge and then have the longer points coming down, and that sort of gives you that extra little bit of shelter underneath the hammock.
That was 7 odd years ago, but I'm not sure if it's the case now, but we were the only tarp, 3x3 tarp on the market that had that diagonal, those extra tie-out points. And again, it's just like we have this kind of obsession where we look at a product and go, how can we just think that one step ahead? And that's another example.
I'm a big fan of carrying a little lightweight tarp with me as well when I'm hunting, just to to set up as an impromptu shelter if you've got to wait out a snowstorm or a hailstorm or rain, or just to sit under to give you a little bit of sun shelter, while you're having lunch on top of a hill or glassing or something or other. So I actually had to have one made because years ago when I was looking for it, I couldn't find one with these sort of features, and so I did the same thing. I had tie-out points actually put into the middle of the tarp as well.
There you go.
So mine's a little bit smaller than yours, and again, I had to seam seal it when I got it because of the material. But so I'm almost going to say great minds because we've had two similar ideas here, but. The old saying, great minds think alike, but fools rarely differ. So
what other ideas you got while we're here?
Well, I do have another tarp idea that I want to run by you later on.
All right, when the mics are off.
Now, look, the website obviously has quite a bit of gear on there. And recently you seem to be sort of bringing out new stuff all the time. Like, it just seems to be a continual. You must be like me. Like, if you're not talking about it or doing it, then you're thinking about it or researching it.
Or dreaming about it.
Don't laugh. I was listening to somebody the other day, and they said they would actually dream about these products, and then they keep a notepad beside their bed, and when they wake up in the morning, they quickly scribble them down, and they have actually turned into good business ideas. I think it was a lady from. No, I won't say because I can't remember exactly, but
I've definitely had breakthroughs at night where there's a problem in your mind, and you wake up and go, that's the solution. I do keep the notebook next to the bed, but not much gets written on it, to tell you the truth.
I take one away with me as well because I'm always thinking of things, and you're trying a bit of gear and something doesn't work on it, and you think, maybe I need to look for something that has this feature on it, or. But one of the big things is food. When you're going away and you're eating dehydrated meals and so forth, and you're like, you rate them, so so you remember next time to buy 2 of that and none of that one.
I had a mate, one of my mates used to do all this hiking with me when we were at sort of school and uni, and he'd always make us sit down after a trip and get a notebook out and say, what could we do better next time? What were the things that worked? What were the things that didn't work? And it was such a good thing to do, because those little lessons have stuck with me, because you have the conversation, you actually think out loud with some other people, and you do learn a lot from writing it down.
Yep. Welcome to this segment of the Australian Hunting Backcountry Friends of the Podcast, and for this part I'm doing something a little bit different. As listeners and followers on the social media may know, I have a competition running in conjunction with Skeleton Optics AU to give away 2 sets of sunglasses. So today I have with me Daniela Burns, who is the second part of the second half of Skeleton Optics. Listeners would have heard Chris Burns on the podcast on 2 episodes before, so I thought it was only fair to get Daniela on as well. So welcome, Daniela. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. So, like I said in the introduction, we just want to talk about the competition that we have running. You guys have very generously offered 2 pairs of sunglasses to give away to a listener, and I have specifically chosen the 2 pairs that you have with blaze orange decal on them, because I think it fits in very well with the podcast logo with the orange background.
Yes, it does.
And obviously hunters do wear a bit of blaze orange as well. So
yes.
Yeah, so the models that I've selected, tell us about those.
So, like you said, we're excited to be giving away 2 different styles of our sunglasses to one lucky listener. So the first style you selected is the Decoy Blaze in the orange edition. So that's one of our most popular frames. It is a unisex frame. So the idea was that it would fuse style, comfort and performance. And basically it was engineered to seamlessly go from work to play. So you could take it out hunting, you could take it out fishing, but then you could also take it to work, take it in the car. That was the idea behind that one. The Stampede Blaze Orange is more of our signature female frame design. It was designed for females, but we have had a purchase from a male of the tortoise design, and he really loved the design of it. But I guess the idea behind that one was it had softer features, softer curves for the female face to make it more appealing.
Yep.
But the thing that stands out the most, I think, is that the sunglasses that we have introduced here in Australia, they're designed for hunters. So they've both got very similar features and made of very similar materials because we wanted them to be durable and resistant to the outdoors lifestyle, I guess. So if you'd like me to speak a little bit more about the frames.
Go
both
ahead.
of the frames are made of Grillamid with TR90, which is a really high quality material, and it's known for its exceptional durability in the outdoor space and also its chemical resistance. So you're not getting stains from sunscreen or oils from fishes or scratches when you're out in the mountains. It also, both of the frames, the Stampede and the Decoy, they feature gold non-slip nose pads. So that helps to keep the frames securely in place. And they also feature a moisture wicking technology. So it performs at its best when it's exposed to the rigours of outdoor adventures, for example, exposure to water, perspiration, etc.
Yep.
And we actually get a lot of feedback from fishermen saying that they're quite confident to lean over the side of the boat and pick up a fish because of these non-slip nose pads. and the overall fit of the frames.
Yep. I many years ago I lost a very good, very expensive set of sunglasses by doing exactly that. Reached over the side of a
Yes.
boat and they fell off and went bloop, and they don't float. Yeah, they didn't float
No,
very much.
that's right. That's right. It'd be very disappointing to be losing one of your frames like that. So, like I said, we do get a lot of feedback from fishermen saying that. So that's really positive
Yep.
for us. And the decoy also fitted with an integral hinge, which is quite an innovative design. So it allows the ease of like application on your head and a really secure fit and hold. So this makes them perfect for outdoor pursuits, and they're built to last. So you don't need to worry about screws on those ones. The Stampedes do still have screws at this point, but the decoys don't have any screws. They just the hinges just fit into each other, so you don't need to worry about that. Yes.
Yep.
We have all the same lenses across our range, all of our skeleton optics range. The only difference is the mirror coating technology that we have. So that's evident in our different colours. So the blue gun, the bronze titanic, the silver chrome, and the petrol, that's all just an aesthetic look. It's just a coating that's put on the outside, and it's a harder coating that defends against dust, water, scratches, impacts. So perfect accessories for any outdoor adventures. Whereas so each of the lenses themselves, they're a grey base lens, and the grey base lens is across all of our range.
Yep.
That's the reason for this selection was that the founders were wanting a flexible lens that could go from work to play. So something that you didn't have to keep popping out new lenses. You could just wear the same pair of sunglasses. You didn't have to keep changing. The grey lens itself offers sort of an all-round experience. It's got high image definition and precision, true color recognition, superior contrast, and because it is grey, it offers a reduction in eye fatigue. So this means that it's comfortable for everyday use. The lenses themselves are actually made of polarized polycarbonate.
Yep.
I'm not sure if Chris mentioned this. So they're lightweight and they're more durable than your traditional glass or plastic lens. They offer 100% UVA-BC protection, and the glare-free visual experience is particularly good on the water. So when you're fishing, water sports, in the snow, on water, on the road, and while playing sports.
Yeah, and of course the a big thing that Chris focused on is the Zeiss manufactured lenses.
Yes, that's right. So our founders partnered with Carl Zeiss Vision, so the world's most recognised leader in optics, so that they could provide the most visually accurate lens technologies in the world for the outdoor active outdoorsmen and women. Yeah.
Well, anyone that knows anything about optics will definitely recognise the name Zeiss and the quality standards that come along with it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we stand behind that. Another thing too, the light transmission, which is obviously the amount of light that comes in through the lens. It sits at about 11% for us, which means that it's best suited to moderate to full sunlight.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's also it's fine to be driving with them as well. It's approved for driving.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, look, it's very simple to enter the competition. If people jump on to the Australian Hunting Backcountry Instagram, find the original post announcing the competition, and you'll see all you have to do is tag someone in the comments section. Make sure you're following Skeleton Optics AU and the Australian Hunting Backcountry Instagram pages. You will go into the draw, and you can enter as many times as you like. if you share the post on your reels or story, you get a bonus entry as well. And then it's going to be drawn on December 4th. So entries will close on December 3rd, midnight December 3rd. And Daniela, I'll probably reach out to you again on the 4th, December the 4th, and we'll do the drawing.
I look forward to that, and good luck to everyone.
Yeah, great. And thanks again to you and Chris for your support of the podcast. I really appreciate it.
We appreciate your support too. Thanks, Tobias.
So the gear that you've got here now, and there is some gear sitting around us at the moment that I'm probably not allowed to mention. But I do, like you've recently brought out a couple of new items. You had the ground based mozzie net style shelter.
Yep.
And I think that I see on the website as well a bivvy.
It's not released yet.
Okay.
But, when's this podcast getting released?
It won't be for a couple of months probably, but
all right. Well, it'll probably be out by the time the podcast comes out.
Yeah.
That's been a really big project, and we've actually collaborated with a YouTuber who I won't name just yet. But we've worked together probably for over a year developing that product.
Yeah.
It's a lightweight. It's kind of a cross between a bivvy and a swag. It's got those benefits of the swag that we all love, the swag that you put in the back of your ute, but it's much lighter. You can go in your backpack, but it's a bit more durable than your sort of standard emergency kind of bivvy.
Yeah.
Really fits in that Alton sweet spot.
Yeah.
Awesome bit of gear. Cannot wait to get them out there.
Okay. There's a couple of pretty standard sort of issues with bivvies, regardless, and it seems to be regardless of who makes them. First of all is waterproof, obviously. Second of all is moisture control from the inside.
Yep.
And then third is sort of comfort, like, and I've seen some that have like a flexi pole to keep it sort of off people's faces. Are they issues that you've identified and are addressing?
Absolutely. All of them.
Okay.
The first two especially, it's a pretty unique fabric that we're bringing out, which really addresses those, the breathability and the waterproofness. And yeah, the off the face issue, that was a big one for us.
Yep.
Because we've all been in with those tiny little cramped bivvies where the silicone nylon's just touching your face and dripping water under you.
Yeah, and every time, you get a drop of rain on you, it feels like someone's smacking you in the face with a hammer.
And you're not getting any sleep that night.
Yeah.
I remember a specific trip where I just suffered in a little wet coffin, pretty much.
Yeah. I've had, I didn't buy it, thankfully. I borrowed it to try it out, but I had a couple of nights in a bivvy, and I've tried to go like super lightweight and sleeping on the tarps and things like that, and I didn't enjoy the nights that I had in the bivvy, and didn't enjoy the nights under the tarp either. Good thing about Australia is all of the bugs and stuff that we have that seem to manage to find their way to us at night time.
Yeah, they certainly do.
Yeah, so hence why I'm again going back to a tent with an inner to keep the bugs out. I keep saying this to people. Everybody's got a threshold for discomfort, and some people it's down here, and other people it's up here, and some people, like there's a very famous Australian sambar hunter, Zeb. You might have seen him on YouTube and so forth. And he goes super lightweight. Like he has a hyperlight pack, takes a tarp and sheet of plastic, sleep on the ground. Yep. So his tolerance for discomfort is obviously a lot higher because he wants that weight gain. He wants to be not gain, but he wants the weight to be down.
Yeah.
Whereas other people, I want a little bit more protection and a little bit more comfort, so I'm happy to pay the price of a slightly higher weight penalty. So, and that was one of the things that I did enjoy about the hammock as well was, it did sort of give you that lighter weight option. I won't say it was as light as a tent because the one I have now is super light, but particularly in the warmer weather. like you said, if you're not going to get rain, maybe you don't need to worry about a tarp, or maybe you just take a really small, super lightweight tarp or something instead, so you can sort of pick up a few grams here and there doing that.
Yeah.
Speaking of sleeping though, you have sleeping mats, and you have basically a system, I guess you could call it, with the sheet and the pillow and so forth. And you also have a quilt, am I right?
Yep.
Do you have a sleeping bag as well?
We do, yep.
Okay. So, mate of mine, Jason, LiquidAntler,
yep.
we did a hunt together back in May, went down to Victoria, and he'd just bought the mat and the blanket, the mattress blanket, and the pillow and so forth.
He came in here, I served him.
Yeah, right.
Great guy.
Yeah. No, he's not. He's a prick. Yeah. I won't be doing anything with him ever again. No, yeah, he is. Yeah, great guy. We've actually got a couple of more trips planned. But anyway, he was, telling me about it on the trip, and actually rated it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another product that you guys have got. So tell me about that whole system there.
Yeah. Again, like another, we bought out sleeping mats. There's lots of other sleeping mats on the market. How can we offer something a little different, improve the experience a little bit? And for me, like one of the big things is just that like awful sticky feeling on a sleeping mat on a summer's night. And the noise is another one. That's one we read about all the time in reviews of, other sleeping mats on the market, people complaining about the noise.
Yeah, I've got a Thermarest Neo X Therm. And it's super high R value, like I think it's 6.9 or something.
Yeah.
The new ones I think are now 7 or just over 7, but it's like sleeping on an empty chip packet.
That's it. And if you can sleep, it's all right, but sometimes the people around you can't sleep, which makes it.
That's why I have a one-man tent.
Yeah.
So I don't have to put up with other people, and they don't have to put up with me.
Yeah. So it was just a pretty simple idea. Like you put a sheet on your bed at home. And it's pretty comfortable. So could we come up with something to go on our sleeping mats? And we found a nice material, nice simple system without any. I really wanted something that wouldn't have like buttons and Velcro, that sort of just sit on like a like your sheet at home. And we came up with the fitted sheet, and then we included a pillow pocket, so we could put our ultralight pillow in there as well. It all ties together for like a really comfortable night's sleep, and we all know how important that is at the best of times. But when you're out hunting or on a multi-day hike or something like that, that sleep is so precious.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I sort of had the catch cry, the 3 Bs: boots, backpacks, and bedding. And if you can master those 3, and they're probably the areas that I would suggest people spend a little bit more money in to get the better quality stuff and the stuff that's going to work. But yeah, a good night's sleep out in the backcountry is super important.
Absolutely.
If you wake up, after a crappy night's sleep the next day, and then have to go out and throw on your backpack and hike up a couple of hills and so forth, it just seems to make it all that much harder.
Absolutely, yeah. What's your go-to boots?
Lower.
Yeah.
Lower Tibets. I just did a podcast actually with Zeb and Thane from Rogee Productions over in New Zealand.
Okay.
They're both lower ambassadors.
Okay, yeah.
But I got put into lower. I spent thousands of dollars over the years on boots, trying different boots and so forth, because you read a magazine article and somebody reviews a set of boots, and of course they're the best boots ever I've ever put on my feet and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's all well and good, but that your feet are different to mine, and mine are different to yours, and
that's the thing.
All of
Yeah.
that. So eventually I found my way to lower boots. There's a bit of a story around it, but I reached out for some help through this company in America called Lathrop and Sons.
Okay.
And they have this system where they kind of evaluate your feet, and then they recommend the boots for you.
Wow.
And even though they have their own boots, their own range of boots, they still suggested that I go into a set of lowers. So
that's awesome.
They had to stretch the right boot for me a bit.
Yep.
Because my right foot's different size than my left foot. And then they have their own inner soles that they manufacture as well.
We'll have to check it out.
Anyway, so I had a set of them for for nearly 5 years, and I kind of got to the point where I thought, I think these ones are getting, due for replacement. So I actually just ordered another set off them, and they arrived not long ago. But yeah, now that I've found them, I'm reluctant to try any other boots, and I'm sure there's other boots out there which would fit and would be very good. But I'm just reluctant to spend the money and change when I've got something that works for me right now.
Yeah, I've had my eye on a pair of lowers. Like they just look like a good boot, and you hear good stories about them. But I wear North Face boots, which I never thought I'd end up buying North Face boots, but they fit my feet really, really well. And now I'm scared to change. Yeah.
That is the problem, is that because there's no refunds. Once you walk out of the shop, once you the old concrete warranty. Once your foot hits the concrete, there's no warranty.
And they're a big investment, those lower boots.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. But yeah, look, if it's there's some good videos on the Lower website about the different types of boots, and I guess you just can find somewhere that's got a pair that you might be interested in and try them on. But walking around the showroom is not a real true indicator. So it's kind of, it is. I hear you. It is hard to change, to go away from something that works. Yeah.
These North Face boots are made of like I think it was, they've had to change the name now, I think, but they had to change the logo. It's called Future Light, I think was the material.
Okay.
It's a really lightweight, waterproof, breathable material. And I've just got so used to these boots, which feel like you're wearing a pair of trainers, but they're a full, like, come all the way up your ankle.
Yep.
I don't know if they sell them anymore, to tell you the truth, so might have to make the jump at some point.
Yeah. I did have a set of boots years ago that worked well with my feet, but they weren't perfect. But they stopped producing them as well. So then I was forced to try something else. And man, I've had some pain in my feet over the years from blisters and all sorts of aches and pains from the wrong sort of boots. And not only that, but the wrong sort of boots for the wrong situation. So, day hikes, the boot you wear is very different to the boot that you need for multi-day, 25 kilo pack hikes. And then hunting and bushwalking, again, are very different.
Yeah.
So if you're walking on trails all the time, that's a very different need to hunting, because you're not walking on trails. You're side hilling, you're up and down, you're in and out of creeks and mud holes and kicking rocks and, all of that sort of stuff. So, so I'm sticking with the lowers, but like I said, there's other brands out there that are probably equally as good, but
I started doing quite a bit of bushcraft over the last 5 or 6 years, and that sort of came about because it's a long story, but when we started Alton, the products we were selling they weren't really camping products. They're probably more of a surfing, beach style leisure product, and that was the hammocks. And then we started being more interested in hammock camping and bringing out the bug net and the tub and that sort of stuff. And then we found lots of bushcrafters buying our green coloured hammock. And that's kind of an early little point where we turned one direction and went that direction. And that was because we were getting a lot of support from that niche little community. But I started to learn a lot about bushcraft back at that point, and I've really fallen in love with it ever since. And the boots I wear when I do bushcraft are different to the boots I wear when I go hiking. And I ended up buying, just behind you there, they're I bought them
the Danas.
Yeah, I bought them off a ADF guy who, I think they issued those ones, and he bought something else. But you just need something that's bomb proof, because like you said, you're kicking rocks, you're pushing things into the ground, you're kicking things over. And
I tried a pair of Dana Pronghorn years ago, and they were very comfortable. They were great on the flat, but they just didn't do well on my feet when I was side hilling. I found I was getting quite a bit of movement in them. But
when I'm in one spot for a few days, they're good. But as soon as you try and go for a long walk, boy,
I think
to cut you up.
Yeah, I think it's something about them. But they were good. Like when I was in the territory hunting buffalo.
Yeah.
So it's it's like a billiard table up there. So they were great for up there. but when I was wearing them in Victoria, I swore I'd never take them back. Yeah. So you just sort of raised the next question I was going to ask around the colour scheme that you have, because one thing I've noticed with Alton is you can have it in any colour you want as long as it's olive green.
Quite a few little things that happened along the way, along the journey that led us to the olive green. One of them was that, that story I was telling before about all these bushcrafters just started buying the olive colour that we had, and we had probably 10 different colours of hammocks at the time, and they were supporting us, so we were leaning in and sort of found a bit of common ground with that community, some of the things that we like to do. And this was actually back at the time when I had a business partner who's and back when it was just a hobby, and then when I started this full time, I bought him out and I took the business from there, and he was probably more into surfing and that sort of lifestyle, and we had both of our influences. But since then, that sort of bushcrafty kind of community got around it. So we dropped off a few colours, sort of really started stocking more of that olive. And I liked it too. I liked the aesthetic of it. And then I actually had a meeting with an accountant who wasn't my accountant, but he'd reach out to me every now and then, probably just business development, touching base and seeing how he could help. And he just gave me this advice and was like, why do you sell, 10 different coloured hammocks?
Yep.
The hammocks all do the same thing? And I was like, yeah, they do.
Yep.
And he's like, well, you're just tying all your money up in these colours, when you could be using that money to invest in new products.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he goes, what's your most popular colour? And I said, oh, it's the olive. And how many of those do you sell for every, purple one? And I was like, oh, well, 98.5% of sales are olive. And he's like, you need to scrap those other colours.
Yeah.
So that was one of the sort of things that happened. And then, I guess a couple of years in, I really sat down and focused on like, who are we? Who do we want to be? How do we want to look? What's the market we're trying to serve? And a lot of clarity sort of came out of doing that. And that's where the aesthetic came from. It blends in really nicely with the Australian bush. It's easy on the eye. It looks nice. It kind of appeals to a whole different broad group of people.
Yeah.
Girls like it, boys like it. It's a great colour.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll probably bring out other colours at some point, but for now it's really working.
Yeah, look, I don't think you need to rush into that. A lot of the successful brands that you sort of see, they really do limit those options for you. And it then becomes the dichotomy of choice, because do I buy this particular product because it's this colour, or do I really want it in this colour, or and then people get paralysed with too many choices.
Yeah.
So if it's just a simple presentation, here it is, you either like the colour or you don't, and obviously your sales are sort of proving that people are not objecting to it, so there's no reason to change. Yeah.
And I guess also to add, we kind of opened up these new markets that we never really thought about. Hunting and military. These two groups that obsess over olive coloured products. So just an added bonus.
Yeah. Now we could sit here talking your products all day, because we have hardly even touched on any that are on your website here. You've got other titanium products as well, and I see you've got a little the thing for carrying your grog in.
Flask.
The flask. Thank you. The flask. Little titanium flask. So it's always good. One of the things I do like doing is taking a little bit of alcohol away with me on a trip, just to have a couple of Sharpies around a fire one night or something.
Adds to the experience.
That's
and
nice. Quite often the only way of transporting it is stainless steel flask, or you can get some plastic ones, but I'm always a bit concerned about them getting damaged and then wasting it. So interesting to see that and some of the other titanium products.
The titanium, customers love it. we brought out a few products in the beginning. Customers love it for cooking, especially, and we just really have tried to focus some energy on broadening that range of cooking products, because different people have a different approach when it comes to their camp cooking. So whether that's bringing out different sizes of pots and pans and that kind of stuff, and grills, we've really just tried to broaden that range out to cater to more people.
Yep. In terms of the cooking, I see one of the things you've got is the little wood fire stove. And then obviously the way that it's designed is, you cook over it or boil your billy or whatever. Is there a temptation for you to move into other, like gas heads for gas canisters and so forth, and do that sort of thing, or are you thinking of leaving?
Probably not a temptation, to tell you the truth. People have asked, but from my perspective, it just adds a whole level of complexity around gas and getting that tested to tick the boxes. In Australia, I haven't looked too much into it, but I'm sure it wouldn't be easy. And like for us, we really like that simplicity. And there's nothing more simple than cooking over a wood fire. We might at some point, but for now, I like the simplicity of the range and not overcomplicating it with things like gas canisters.
I guess from your point of view as well, your business model, there are probably some areas in the industry that you could go into, but you would probably have identified that they're already well and truly filled to the point of saturation. And I'm going to suggest that that gas heads, cooking heads, for example, is going to be one of those areas. There's multitude of...
Hard to go past the jet boil.
Yeah, that's it. The jet boil is saturating the industry. MSR, there's a number of other brands out there. So it would be hard and probably not a good business decision for you. And I'm not giving you business advice here because I'm the last person that you want to be taking advice from. But it would be hard to come up with something that's going to fill a niche that isn't already filled and well and truly dominated by one of these other companies.
I agree.
You agree that you shouldn't take business advice from me?
No, I mean, it's funny. You have conversations with lots of different people and you actually get great ideas, no matter who it is or their experience. But when it comes to product, I honestly, I don't want to shut out anything because there are certain brands that say, this is our space and we'll stick to this is what we know and yada yada. But like everyone here is keen to learn and research and test, and I never really want to shut anything out because there's so much that we can get into and we might get into one day. But I just think for now where we're at, I take your point on certain things. Like there's certain brands that have really nailed that part of the market. They've got all of the resources they need to get that stuff right. Whereas right now, the resources that it'd take to get into testing gas products and that sort of stuff, probably not a priority.
It's a point of diminishing return for you. Well, that coming back to that little sort of fireplace, one of the things about Australia is there is no shortage of firewood on the ground. And obviously some, state forests and national parks, you can't have an open fire, so people need to be mindful of that. But I went away from jet boil a few years ago just to try something different, but just sort of mix it up a bit and give me some more options. And so I went to a titanium sort of setup with a different burner head. Simply so, the main reason was that I could have that option to boil some water over a fire, preserve the gas canister, and use a resource that's there. And so I've done it a number of times, and I've had to collect some rocks and build a little fireplace, and then get the right size rock to put the mug on so that it sits in the right position. So that sort of takes that I guess that quest then for those rocks and building a little fireplace away, because it is
Yeah.
a little 3-sided sort of thing, and it
It's
all funnels up to the top. So.
I've been loving it lately. It's so easy to use, and like the twigs are essentially endless. There's twigs everywhere when you're out in the bush. So, and you can keep adding them on, and if you need a little bit more heat, this is such a great bit of gear.
Yeah.
And then it folds flat and it weighs, I think it's 150 grams, something like that.
Yeah.
Just sort of what we're talking about with the gas. The other thing, I love just having a fire. You cook on gas at home.
Yeah.
When you're out in the bush and you've got a bit extra time, it's so nice to just peel everything back and just cook over a fire.
Yep. And, it kind of warms you in two ways as well, because you have to collect the firewood. So, it involves a little bit of movement, you getting up and walking around and breaking branches and that sort of thing. And then having a small fire, you can just keep your hands warm.
Yep.
And sometimes that's all you need, just to lift that morale.
Yeah, it's great for morale.
Yeah, and get the hot chocolate, boiling. And I'm going to give a plug. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, but Dog and Gun Hog Chocky.
Yeah.
If you haven't tried it, you need to try it.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
They're a great brand.
Yeah. I take it away. I mix up my own. So I take it out of their packet and sort of put it in the little Ziploc bags, and I mix a couple of teaspoons of powdered coconut milk with it. Just to add some more calories to it as well. But it adds a kind of creaminess, a different sort of creaminess to it as well. So that's my pro tip.
No, there's an idea.
Yeah. But yeah, just, you're cold and you're wet, and just having a little fire going, getting some warmth in your hands and having something hot in your belly. Yeah. It just gives you the energy then to carry on for the rest of the day.
Absolutely,
Yeah. Look, like I said, I think we could sit here talking gear and stuff all day, but I guess I'm going to put you on the spot and say, what is in development, or what's potentially coming? I know we've spoken about the bivvy, but what else is potentially coming for Alton that you can talk about?
I mean, there's anything that hasn't been released. I don't really want to talk about it, but and there's a lot of reasons for that. There's delays, there can be hiccups, things can go wrong. We might not end up releasing it, all that sort of stuff. But there's a big range of stuff that you can wear that's coming out.
Okay. Yep.
And it's going to be pretty exciting.
Yep. All right.
And you can wear it when you're out in the bush. Yep.
Okay. All right. We'll be interested to see what's coming.
We'll be sure to get you some. We'll hook you up.
Yeah. Yep. I'll have to drop by and you can measure me up. I take a 32 Husky. Yeah. Well, look, there's. I think there's great things in the future for you, and obviously you don't need any words of advice or encouragement from me, because you seem to be knocking it out of the park already. But where do people go to find you to start with?
So we're on every platform and all that sort of thing, but I'd say the most action probably happens on Instagram at Alton_goods. And I mean, our website is the sort of central point where you can see the entire range, altongoods.com.
Yep.
And then, if you're a TikToker or Pinterest or what else is there? YouTube. We're on all those platforms.
Yeah.
But I'd say Instagram's probably a good starting point. And if you don't have Instagram, then our website. But there's a lot of products coming out. Like everything's been really planned out. So we constantly want to be bringing out new products. That's for us. That seems to be a really good way for us to grow. Every time we bring out a new product, we're introducing a new group of customers to the brand who were in search of that product that we didn't previously have. And then we find that our existing customers, a lot of them will support that new product as well. So for the next, immediate future, foreseeable future, our plan is to continue working with our industrial designers and team to come up with new products that sort of fit into that Alton sweet spot, and just continue to release them and continue to get the name out there.
Yep. All right. And I mean, your website, the it breaks down all the products. It has a description and weight and
Yep.
size and that sort of thing. But if anybody can think of any other questions, are they able to reach out to you, and what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, for sure. We have a phone number, which I don't know off the top of my head, but it's on our website.
It's got a 3 in there somewhere.
It starts with a 3.
Yeah.
But also the best is probably just email, so discover@altongoods.com. Yeah, we're always happy to help and answer questions. So anything you want to say, just reach out.
Yep. Okay. And now, do you actually offer pickup from your warehouse as well?
We do. So yeah, at checkout there's a local pickup option.
Yep.
So we are based in Geebung on the inner north of Brisbane.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're a local, definitely select local pickup. You can save a few bucks on shipping, and come and say g'day.
Yep. All right. Well, I'll definitely be putting some links to your website and Instagram and so forth in the show notes, so everyone will be able to find you there. But before we go, I'm going to push you again. Is there any little secret you can just whisper it into the microphone? Is there anything?
I think it's the worst kept secret at the moment, but yeah, there's an ultralight swag bivvy coming out.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of people asking for it. So I really hope that at the time this podcast comes out, the product is out, because we constantly, every single day, getting emails and DMs saying, "Where's the bivvy? Where's the bivvy?" It's an awesome piece of kit. I cannot wait. Yeah. Cannot wait for people to have it in their hands.
All right. Very good. All right, Sam. Thanks again, mate. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's been fun.
I know you're a busy man. You just came back from a trip over to Europe.
Yeah, I mean, that was just relaxing, really.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm just as busy as the next person, so there's always time to do this sort of stuff. I really enjoy doing it.
Yeah, great. All right, mate. Yeah, again, really appreciate it. And thanks again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cool. Hey, thank you for listening in. If you'd like to contact me for a chat, pass on any feedback, or have some ideas for future podcasts, please reach out to me on Instagram at Australian_hunting_backcountry, or email australian.hunting.backcountry@outlook.com.au. For now though, please look after yourselves and your mates.